Hello, we're Yujong Olivia Ha in grade 10.
And Soyeon Lee from grade 8.
And it's nice to see you, Miss Karen Jurjevich. And I think it's a very nice place for us to talk about Branksome Canada and also Branksome Asia. Miss Karen Jurjevich, could you please introduce yourself briefly to our community?
Absolutely. Great to be here in Branksome Hall Asia. I am the principal of Branksome Hall Canada, a position that I've held now in my 26th year and my final year in the school. And I'm also one of the co-founders of Branksome Hall Asia from the very beginning.
Nice. And talking of Branksome Hall Asia, it's really nice and also quite strange to think that there is a sister school of a school in Canada and school in Jeju. So I think when thinking of making a sister school in Asia in the very beginning, it would have taken you a lot of vision, courage, and communications. So if possible, could you please describe a little bit about the decision-making process that ultimately led you to building a sister school in Jeju?
Absolutely. And you know, Olivia, it's a question that I'm asked often because once you come here and you see what is actually happening and you feel that connection back to your school in Canada, people are absolutely enthralled with what has taken place and the growth of our two schools.
Exactly, yeah.
When I look back and I think about the decision making and the decision itself, I often think to myself, it was the right time, the right people, and the right place. So let me say just a few words about that. I think having the right people around the table is so critical. And I was over 10 years in my position already at Branksome Hall Canada. So when this opportunity came my way, and I'll say a few words about that, I was ready for the next evolution and growth of Branksome Hall Canada. We had great people around the table. Our business partners, the South Korean government, were highly organized, had a vision, and they were very intent on this opportunity. And then the place. Branksome Hall Canada was well immersed in the International Baccalaureate at the time, and international mindedness and having a global perspective meant so much to us. So here was this offer in a place in South Korea on a beautiful island. So we thought this might be an opportunity for the students and the employees of both schools to really develop a mindset around what it means to be internationally minded. I will say the decision making also included the Branksome Hall strategic direction in Canada. And we were really interested in expanding our global footprint, but we hadn't made the steps yet. So when I was approached by the South Korean government representatives, it just seemed to fit into where the school was in its own evolution. We did a lot of due diligence, we examined risk, we examined finance. We asked ourselves, how will it be possible to have connectivity in two continents? But we knew that once you involve young people, it doesn't take too long, right?
Right.
The students connect and all of a sudden the connections are there. And the same thing has happened for the adults in our community. The Board of Governors was very instrumental in our decision in Canada, and as were the business partners in South Korea. So we worked for a year and we signed a cooperative venture agreement in 2010 and immediately went under construction.
Nice. And I think I really wanted to be immersed in that culture of global mindedness, but at the same time, because our family is living in Korea, it was slightly difficult for me to go abroad. So I think it was a really nice opportunity for me and other students as well to come to Jeju, but also experience that Branksome culture.
Yes. And to come to Jeju as well as go to Toronto when you're more than a tourist.
Right.
You actually come as a partner and you have a mission. You're going to do something that is going to be academically rigorous, but also cooperatively work on a project. So much better.
It is.
Yeah.
I think talking of that, Branksome Hall Asia would have gone through many changes, and I think we can ask some questions about that as well.
Sure.
As she said, as Branksome Hall Asia gets some change and some more good change. So how do you think about that changes that Branksome Hall Asia experienced over the years?
Well, I have to say just from the top, I'm in awe. I'm impressed, I'm happy, and I'm in awe. And the kinds of changes that this school has experienced, I think have really allowed the school to evolve and to meet student needs where they need to be, given what the world is, how the world is changing and how the demands on young people are changing for skills and knowledge. I see those kinds of changes really taking hold here. This has been a very innovative school, and they have been leading edge. And not only in your academic programming, but in the kinds of things you're doing beyond the classrooms. So some of the recent decisions to grow the school, increase the student population, I think has really helped Branksome Hall Canada. And the evolution of developing a program where boys have the opportunity to study, but still separately, but also together, has been remarkable, and really understands that this is where our school is today in this market.
Very nice. And I think, yeah, as Branksome Canada and Branksome Hall Asia are really connected through Minds, but also collaborative project and academic program, we really feel connected, but also at the same time slightly distanced because of the physical distance that is present between Jeju and Canada.
Right.
And we would really like to be closer, and we would really like to keep in touch. What do you think we could do to make our distance a lot shorter and make ourselves feel as a part of the Branksome culture and tradition?
Well, listen, the world of technology opens doors for us, doesn't it? And I think we've done a decent job of that. What does work against us is something called the time zone. Because we know that we're hours and hours apart. So real time learning and exchange is rather difficult. But I do believe that we can probably do more in sharing some of the common projects that we're working on. We're both international baccalaureate schools. We have very similar values as a school. We have extraordinarily talented faculty in both schools and really committed students who want to learn. So when you think of some of the projects, both in class and outside of class, that we might be able to learn from and share, be it online, I think this is one great opportunity. The other thing that's really exciting is, even though Branksome Hall Asia is still a relatively new school, you're part of a school that's over 120 years old. So the traditions that you have adopted, many of which, you know, of course we're still doing, we should be sharing more of that. And putting more online, I think, on our two schools. And I think we can do more to allow the students the opportunity to, at their own time, make sure that they connect with their Branksome Hall sisters in two countries.
And I think that idea of having collaborative projects together kind of links back to our topic of Grade 9 exchange, which is a big event, I think, for both schools. And she is our Grade 8 student who's really looking forward to it.
So me and my friend is really excited to go to Canada and meet some Canada girls and experience some of Canada things. So like, what can be done to build upon this experience?
Right. Once you have had that experience, how do you continue to build? Well, I can tell you, Sue Young, you're excited to come to Canada, and the Grade 8s in Canada are equally as excited to come here. So let's just put that on the table as a starting point. You know, I think that in addition to our exchange and our study abroad program, which is so phenomenal, what happens, I think, is phenomenal. I'd like to see an international service program where we share some of the same projects. And I think meeting in a country other than Korea or Canada, but when you already know each other and engaging in a service project would be phenomenal. I've also planted the seed back in Canada that maybe one day down the road we could take this program and we could have almost a separate diploma graduation certificate that said, I have an international diploma, because for 4 years, imagine this, in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, you take a period of time and you take your studies back here and you continue to go back and forth. So I was thinking about that as a future idea. And another one is, I know our summer programs are expanding even more in Canada. We're opening what we call ICAST, the Innovation Center and Studio Theatre, brand new building. And with that, we're offering enhanced innovation programs on design technology, on coding, on entrepreneurship in the summer. So why couldn't we have our Branksome Hall Asia students come, live in boarding on our campus in Canada, and again study with their sisters in Canada and learn the culture, share some good food and some activities. So there's 3 ideas that are bubbling for me.
Wow, that's amazing. I think there are senior school students, but also middle school students who are really interested to really work together with people in Canada and get to make those collaborative memories.
Yeah, friends for life. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, nice to meet you, Miss Karen. We're Jiyoon Han from grade 6.
And I'm Ethan Seung-Yun from grade 6.
And we would like to ask you a few questions. And the question is, what is the value or pride or sources of pride do you believe Branksome members should hold?
Right. Values, it's such an important part of our upbringing, isn't it? So what are the values for the Branksome Hall students? Well, I would have to begin with the word respect for themselves and for each other. No matter what age or stage, that we always show respect for each other and for the greater humanity in the world. I also believe strongly that students who develop a sense of community will live healthier and happier lives. And communities can happen in the school, but they can also happen beyond the school. So I think that that value around community carries people a very long way. I really believe in the value of integrity. And along with that, we think of words like honesty, truthfulness, and just having integrity in the choices that you make in your life and how you make judgments as you go through life as you get older. So those would be 3 really important values to me that I hope every student at Branksome Hall in both continents adopts.
And our other question is, what were your goals as the principal of BHC, and did you achieve them?
Wow, that's a big question, and especially because I've been principal for so long. You know, there's many goals when you are a leader, and usually you revisit those goals annually, and you think about the things that you really want to accomplish in any given year, or the things you want to continue with, because often one's goals are not over and done in one year. So for me, I think the goal setting that I've done and I think been successful with has really demonstrated the evolution of Branksome Hall as a school, not only in Canada, but also here. And because schools are constantly evolving, school of today is not going to be the school when you graduate, for example. There will be different demands and different needs. So a big part of my goal setting is that we're constantly evolving and learning as a teaching and a learning community. And that goes for the educators as well as for the students. And I think we've always kept Branksome as a leading edge school, a school that's innovative, a school that is willing to take chances and take good, healthy risks. And that's been part of my goal setting model. And maybe the most important thing as an educator, I think my goal was to work with young people and have a life that's been inspired by young people. And Branksome Hall has given me that every day for 26 years.
As you reflect on your 26th tenure as a principal, what was the fondest moment or memory?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think again, I can't pick just one fond memory, but I will say, I think seeing young students grow in the environment that is Branksome Hall is probably the memory that I will take away upon my retirement from the school, and grow in ways that are within themselves and also externally to the outside world. Not only grow academically and intellectually, but also with an understanding that there are many views in the world, There are many multiple perspectives in the world. And when we can understand that and engage in discourse on things like that, I think that I would feel I really achieved something. And that memory of sending young people into post-secondary education and sending young people into the world equipped with those kinds of goals and attributes and skills is probably the memory that will serve me for the rest of my life with great, great pride.
As we know, you are the inspiring leader of Branksome Hall, and how can you be a leader like you?
Well, I would describe myself as a leader who thrives on curiosity. And as a result of that, I have been a lifelong learner and continue to be a lifelong learner. So that would be one of the attributes of how I would describe myself. You know, I say this to people, no matter what their age, I have a good sense of humility. I actually understand that I surround myself with educators and leaders and people in my community who can really help move Branksome Hall forward. So that helps me as a leader, and it helps the school grow. Because if I think that I have all the answers, then I've made a big mistake. Because it's actually impossible. So I think that sense of knowing what I'm good at and knowing how I can bring other people to the table and get them enthused about Branksome Hall is probably been a really success factor for me as a leader, but also for our two schools.
Do you have any final word of wisdom for BHA community?
Words of wisdom. Well, I think sometimes we take ourselves a little too seriously. And life is hard right now. There's a lot of things coming at us as adults and for you as young people. And I also think with that hard stuff, we have to bring the lightness and the joy and the fun. So one word of wisdom is, I would say, make sure you have some fun along the way, especially in the great environment that you find yourself in here at Branksome Asia or Canada or in the community that you occupy. And maybe a final thing, a word of wisdom is about confidence. Believe in yourself. Have confidence in yourself.
Thank you for the interview. It was a pleasure to meet you. Have a great time in Jeju.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.